So I'm sure everyone's seen the announcement by now, but Harley Davidson announced that they've got an electric cycle. Apparently it's not technically a production unit yet. I guess they're saying it sorta is. They've got a handful of them, and they're going to be traveling around the country on a what they call the Livewire. I don't know if it's an event or what, but they're going to be bringing the bikes around so people can see them and hopefully test ride them. I hope they come down to Tucson. I'd love to take a test ride on it. And I never thought I'd say that about a Harley. I don't really like most Harleys. I don't really have anything against the company. I mean, the history of Harley is undeniable. They've been building bikes since, 1903? There's a lot of history there. I think people like to hate on the stereotype of Harley people, the same way people hate on the stereotype of Gixxer people, more than they necessarily hate on the bikes. Yeah, they're loud, if you make them loud. I don't know, people say they're not fast. I've ridden with people on Harleys. If you want to ride a Harley fast, you can. They may not be as fast off the line, but even on a heavy bike, you know, when you've got 1500, 1600 cc's, it's a decent amount of power, even in a twin. But anyways, back to their electric cycle, the Livewire. I don't know if that's going to be the name of the bike or not. It's actually pretty good looking. You know, like Bramo and some of the other companies that have come out with electric bikes, they've been very urban, lightweight, and then there's been some more sporty ones which kind of are edging on the almost too futuristic, where it's going to look really bad in 10 years type look. But I actually think Harley's managed to hit a pretty good balance. I mean, it's definitely a cruiser, but it's fairly sporty for a cruiser, and it's fairly sporty for Harley. Spec-wise, they're saying it's about, I think, 76 horsepower, 56 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, that's not crazy, and it is going to be heavy. They're estimating that the battery pack, because Harley hasn't released that information, but estimates put the battery pack at about 200 pounds. So it's a lot of weight to offset, and then that still doesn't include the motor, too. I mean, that's just the battery pack. The motor's going to be pretty heavy too. They've made extremely lightweight, hollow spoke aluminum wheels. They have a cast aluminum frame, which is the lightest frame Harley's ever done. Kind of a cool part about the frame. In the little intro video, let's take a look at the little teaser video right now. And then just for fun, the inevitable parody video, which had to happen. So I mean, pretty funny. But that's a little teaser video, and you can see you can hear rather, that they've added some interesting sound effects. Now, silly sounds aside, what's actually kind of cool is one of the main criticisms of electric bikes is that they're going to be too quiet. And you know, they do have a whine. All electric motors have a whine, but a lot of people say of a lot of the ones that are on the market now that they're too quiet. Now, they're never going to be as loud as a petrol bike, and nor would you necessarily want them to be. I mean, yeah, we can argue the merits of loud pipes, but in an urban environment, you know, you don't have to be screaming loud to get noticed. I'm sure some people will debate that. Rage away in the comments. But what Harley did with this one is they actually worked with their engineers to make it so that the motor resonates through the frame. Now, this may be all marketing bullshit, but if you actually watch the videos of this thing, and we will in a second, if you actually watch like the real intro video to it, it's actually quite loud.
Freedom and ingenuity has always shaped our nation and our place in it. It's what inspired our founders. It compelled us to answer the call to serve. It united people around shared passions and inspired generations to express themselves. We share the same promise of freedom and the same desire to expand it. That's the inspiration behind Project Livewire. When it comes time to shape a next generation, we rely on American ingenuity and the very same people who got us here. You. Harley Davidson's first electric motorcycle, only on the Project Livewire Experience Tour. Join us for the ride.
They actually made it sound interesting, like it's got a pretty loud whine, kind of, almost like a jet whine. Harley says it's the sound of a fighter jet landing on a aircraft carrier. If that was true, you could blow out pedestrians' eardrums as you pass them on the sidewalk. On one hand, I would love to sound like an F-16 riding everywhere. On the other hand, I would be arrested within minutes because it's an insanely loud sound. So yeah, a little bit of marketing wishfulness there, but it does have a spooling up jet engine sound, which is kind of futuristic. It's kind of a cool whine, and the fact that they chose to accentuate it is pretty cool. It kind of shows that they paid attention. I mean, yeah, they're playing to their fan base, who generally has gutted or straight pipe exhausts that are pretty loud. But let's be honest, the Livewire is not going to go to Harley's traditional fan base. You're not going to have an FLH rider or even a Iron 883 rider. Interestingly, the Livewire actually has better horsepower and torque than the Iron 8H3. I don't know how it's going to compare weight-wise, but better horsepower and torque, which is kind of cool. But again, it's not going to compete with your traditional Harley rider. They're not going to like it. I think you're going to get similar reaction from your hardcore Harley people that hardcore Ducati people gave when they came out with the Diavel. Hardcore Ducati people went ape shit when they came out with the Diavel, saying it was going to be the end of Ducati and they were getting into cruisers and it was ridiculous. They were ignoring their heritage and all of this, which turned out not to be the case, and people widely praised the Diavel as a pretty awesome motorcycle. Am I saying that the Livewire is going to be on the level of the Diavel? Probably not in performance, certainly not in performance, but maybe in a new direction. It's also going to bring people into the Harley family that would have never considered a Harley. I mean, like I said, I've never considered a Harley. They're just not the type of bike I'm interested in. I actually would love an electric bike. Most of my commutes are pretty small. I love the sound and the delivery and everything that goes with a gas bike. I'll always have a gas bike. But an electric bike is pretty awesome. It's something new. It's something revolutionary. You know, it's a step towards the future. And I'm impressed that Harley's doing it. Very impressed. I wouldn't have expected them to be one of the first major players in the electric market. And I wouldn't have expected them to turn out something that actually looks good. I mean, it's actually a good-looking bike. I think it's very cool. I look forward to seeing some reviews on it. I really hope that they stop at Tucson, because for the first time in my life ever, I will want to sign up to take a test drive on a brand new Harley. And definitely, if that happens, we'll get to see a video of it, because it's too cool not to. I think it'll be interesting now. If you guys have looked at Teslas have 3 different models that have different capacity batteries. I think it'll be interesting if Harley does like the Tesla equivalent of the P85 Plus, a high amperage or a high amp hour battery with maybe a little bit higher performance, or maybe a more aggressive programming. I think that would be kind of cool, but who knows? There's not a whole ton of information floating around right now. So what do you guys think about it? What do you think of the look? What do you think of the name? What do you think of the idea? What do you think of the fact that Harley's the first large motorcycle manufacturer to do an electric, what looks to be a production-ready electric? So what are your opinions? Hit up the comments, argue amongst yourselves. I'm sure everyone's got some pretty distinct opinions on this. You know, Harleys in general have a love it or hate it attitude. Oh, why don't we roll some photos of the Livewire? And what do you guys think of that name? I don't know if that's actually going to be the name of the bike or not, but let's roll some photos. Let's roll some photos on the outro here, and we'll see what you guys think. Get a better look at it than you do from the video.